Hey, Anthony here from the Best in the West. We got a good one for you today. This is the conclusion of the last video I posted of the floating steps. This will include the whole project, the driveway, the floating steps, and the walkway, so you can see from start to finish it all tied together and how to go about it. There's my boy Milton. That's how we get our elevations. You break the bubble, you can get 2%. That's generally what we want. 1% will work. Workhorse Hauling hooked me up with his job, my buddy Matt. He's from this area, and he brought his tractor, which totally helped me out, and his dump trailer. So I just showed up in my car and stayed in a hotel. That's how you pound them stakes. We're getting all the elevations so we can grade it. Javier's laying it all out. You got to have the stairs and the driveway all tying together with the height of the sidewalk and the garage floor. And that's my boy Big D right there. And that's Matt's trailer. He went and got all the material for me. Like I said, he helped me out in every way possible to make this job really sweet. Lately, I've been doing running a service like a Bobcat service and pump service, which seems I like better, but it seems that I'm just into this contracting is what I'm doing. That's how we got all elevations. So we're going to lay these steps out for how much height we have for where Milton is down to the driveway. And we're going to get 4 in. And then the top one will be the 5th. So we have 5 steps in it. If you want to refer to the floating steps, you can go to the last video I posted. And specifically, I posted that just to show the steps separately. Because customers who are calling me that want steps or entryways, I just haven't watched that video and not this driveway and all this other stuff. But for homeowners and contractors and different people that want to see the whole project, I separated it. Generally, I don't. But there's too much going on, so I like doing it on this one. Next few I do will be demo videos I'm doing for other contractors. I just finished one. Really cool one. A big one. Residential. And I'll do the foundation and the garage later too. But that's the next video is a big demo I just did. I actually broke my thumb on it and my tractor. But I'll get into that next video. It was just it was unbelievable. So I'm just grading this out. It's pretty much, when they demoed it out, Matt right there in the black shirt demoed it all out. That's his tractor, and it's pretty much close to grade. But when we had the original, when you come down their house, down the walkway, down those steps, there was just 2 steps. So we changed the trajectory and the angle of the steps. So I had to take probably 2.5 yards of dirt off this property. That was about it. It wasn't much. But if we did it the way it was, with the 2 steps at the bottom, the way they originally had it, then probably no dirt would have came out. But the game plan, the sell of the job was already the floating steps, new driveway, new walkway, awesome customers. Her name was Haley and her husband's name was Matt. Thanks. I want to thank them. They were, as usual, awesome customers. And I got to give a shout out to my media girl. Without her, I couldn't do any of this. Her name's Sydney Ray 05 on Instagram. I'd appreciate it if you guys supported her and checked her out. That's SYDNEY Ray RAY 05. She's a senior in high school. She does all my editing, all my social media. I wouldn't do any of it if it wasn't for her. You guys wouldn't be able to check me out because I wouldn't be doing it. I've got enough stuff on YouTube now, which is the only reason why I put it on is to get work. And then it turned into how good it was and how much people liked it, so I kept going with it, and it was cool. It was like a mutual benefit because that's how I get all my work from it. When you watch West Coast and you see my crew, the equipment, the end result, which is a money shot, it's a no-brainer, They're calling me in the middle, and it's in California right now. It's really slow. I've talked to a lot of different people, Bobcat guys, pump guys, concrete contractors, guys with cement trucks. I talked to a couple owners of ready-mix plants, and everyone said they're just dead as dead can be. And I was, and I'm going off the Richter again. So without YouTube and social media, I got to thank God that I was led to it, because without that, and if I had more overhead, it would have been just like the first time. I've told you guys how I went under years ago in a lot of my parts of my videos, other videos, older ones. I would have had the same thing happen. But I didn't have any overhead, and I was sitting tight, but I've made a lot of money. So, by the grace of God, I'm doing good because of the way I marketed myself. If you're going to start, Now, in my opinion, people say, oh, it's a recession, it's slow, it's this, it's that. In my opinion, that's the best time to start, because all the legitimate people that have excavators payments, truck payments, house payments, all these payments, child support payments, and there's no work, they got to go do something else. They need a steady check. They can't hang in there and roll the dice like I can. So the guys that are in there and hanging in there are just hacks. You know, most of the guys that are good with workers' comp and everything else and license, they'll, not that I want them to, I'm just saying this is what I've seen from my experience of a recession or a slowdown, go to the wayside, and the guys that are in there don't know what they're doing. So if you can get in there and break even, acquire some equipment, and get by, and then it picks up, you're like one of the only legitimate guys around, and you got a year or two of it wide open. There's my human tamper, Kevin. And then you got a year or two of it wide open before good guys jump back in it and transition to where they went. That's my experience personally, exactly what I've seen from the '08 one. And take it for what it's worth. I don't know if it's like that every time, but that's what I've seen. Here's a rebar. We just go 24 on center. A lot of people think rebar helps with cracking and stuff. It kind of cracks me up. That's how you pound a steak. It just helps with keeping it as one piece. So if a root lifted it, or it heaved, or it sunk because of clay expanding and shrinking, it has to move the whole piece. It's all one. And you got a 10-yard driveway, you know, that's like what, 20,000, 25,000 pounds. It's not going to move it. A root can't move it as one piece. It does nothing for cracking. So get that out of your head. Absolutely zero. Microfibers help with those cracks and shrinkage cracks, and always put that in. If you can get microfibers instead of those long stealth, get the micros. You don't even notice that they're in there. I mean, look at the setup. I mean, these are masters at their best. I mean, I don't know, residential, how much better you're going to get. And they asked me to design it basically like every job I go on. Just you do it. Like I'm like, well, do you want this? Or you want me to do the steps like this? Just do it like how you want to do it. That's how much they know I know what I'm doing. And I told them, I'm not going to use any, I don't use any colors. I don't use anything. If you can make something subtle, beautiful, and stand out, you're good. Here's Ricky from the pump company they sent out. He was cool. Came and pumped it out for me. He's got an Olin 565. I've had that pump. When I was a regular pumper, that's the exact pump I ran. Single axle, though. I didn't like the double. Bounces around a lot. So it was a cakewalk pump job for him. And I'm his helper, so. It didn't seem viable for me to drive all the way 2 hours and get my pump all the way back. And I'm staying at a hotel where it's only valet parking. So I could have left my rig and everything at the homeowner's house and I'd Uber or one of my guys drop me off at the hotel, but I just didn't see the point. And this is a really good trick I'm going to tell you guys. You pack sand around the border, perimeter, so concrete doesn't billow underneath, and when you strip the forms, you're not going to be hindered by trying to get them out. And when you got green, fresh concrete, soft, and you're pounding on forms to try and get them out, and you chip it or break something, pretty catastrophic, right? So you're not going to put the sand in so it doesn't billow out. I do it like if you do diamonds with grass or stone in between the gaps. I always fill the gaps up with sand so it can't billow underneath of it. And then when you strip it, it is what it is. It's a little bit of a wrestling match struggle, but with concrete stuck to those forms and you're beating on them, it's just a nightmare. And you never know. You want it stiff, of course, so it doesn't go underneath it. But sometimes, what if the guy shows up with a wet load or whatever? Who knows? But if you have it choked off with sand, at least you're going to get the forms out and you're screwed finishing for a couple hours extra. But at least the next day or that day when you're stripping it, you can strip it. And always use chairs and adobes. You won't get written up and get a ticket by the police monitoring that. There's our slump there. I mean, it is what it is. With the California soil, it bleeds perfectly and it rises to the top and then bleeds perfect. So you can use a 5, 6, whatever you want. Not over that, but a 5.5 is ideal. 5, 6 maybe on a hot day. Wintertime, I'm going about a 5 with 1 or 2% polar set in it. Real nice. The concrete was nice. It finished nice. Stripped nice. Got my boy Milton Sr. there. One of my favorite guys. and his son Junior. See how the concrete came up underneath those forms? I came by with a shovel when it was still wet and just I hate that because I do a lot of the stripping I used to, and sometimes these guys, not these guys particular, but other guys I worked with, it would up underneath, and it's just insane to get off, and there's no reason for it. You got to be very detailed. Just walk the forms, look. You see a gap on one, make sure you block it with dirt or sand or whatever you have. See this pump? You can lay it in like a real professional. These guys are just setting it with their hands, barely screeding it here. You can get it absolutely perfect. So fast. Any speed you want to go. I mean, you're going to use a buggy and pull up there and dump it. I guess you could, but the homeowners out here would probably think you're nuts and throw you out, especially the high-end ones. You can't wheelbarrow. You can't show up with a jackhammer and a wheelbarrow and stuff like that out here. It doesn't roll like that. It's a totally different standard. And the homeowners and the people out here are wealthy, and wealthy people generally do their homework, and they know. Like they'll be saying, oh, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. Stuff that normal homeowners that don't do concrete questions, they don't ask you. But they know the answer to it because they've looked into it. But they don't mess with me or say anything to me or even question me. They just go, oh, you're good. No, I understand. Just do it however you want. But I like subtle. I don't like colors. No one's stamping two color like that's some big deal. You see people on YouTube posting that stuff. I mean, I couldn't even imagine a landscape architect putting that stuff on the drawings out here in like Newport Coast, Beverly Hills, in those areas. It's oh my god. It's all top cast. It's all sand finished generally. If you can make it look really, really clean, really simple, regular concrete, straight cement, no fly ash, so it all bleaches out, lighter white, looks really good in my opinion. That's the look I like. And a lot of people, homeowners that want me to design it, I say I'm not using any colors. I'm making it subtle. And every last 5 or 6 times they've had me do it, they said that's what I want. And I already know we're good. They're going to love what I do when I'm done, and they absolutely love this. Well, I mean, who wouldn't? I wish I had a house with this elevation so I could do a set like this at my own house. It's kind of, at some point I guess I'll get a different place, and when I do, I'll make sure that it has an elevation, hopefully, so I can do something like this at it. I'd like to walk up and down these and pull up to it. I really like them, the look of them. I do them a little different in my set because I try and change it up. You want each one unique in its own, and they're going to be putting flagstone on the porch. So he brought a piece of flagstone, and then I raised it up that high so when he puts it on there with the thin set or mortar or whatever you use for flagstone, it's the right height, and there's no lip or gap going into it. Here's my boy Junior. And that's how we mark the lines. Evidently, that's how everybody on YouTube does it now. But there's a timeline on the videos that shows prior when nobody did that. And I've done it since day one. So there's a lot of BS going on. That's a torpedo cutter. I'm not sure if that's not an 8-footer. I think that might be a 6-footer. But that's how we cut them, and it cuts it deep. And you can get them super straight. Some people call it an arrow or a torpedo. And it cuts it deep the way you're supposed to and far. And then you run a walk behind through it to clean it out. It's not as deep. And then you do it by hand when you're out there skating it. So it gets 3 to 4 runs through it. 3 different tools and then 2 runs with the hand tool to clear it out, and so there's no residual in the joint and all that. But this is A1 work. I've been saying this the whole time. This smokes anything you guys are going to see on social media or anywhere. There's some good stuff. I've seen some really good work on Instagram and other stuff, but the regular stuff I've seen on here it's just redundant junk, I wouldn't even really consider anything worthy of watching for me. I want to learn something. I want to see something cool. I want to see something like this, But I'm into it, and I'm proud of what I do, and I'm trying to sell myself and my business and get work from it, so it's different. I'm not trying to live my life by how many subscribers or views I get, because in the end, it's insignificant. It's a number. It doesn't really matter. That's an upper step tool. We strip the steps, and we face every part that's exposed. And that 1x4 that Javier puts in the bottom, he puts expansion, regular gray expansion foam from like Home Depot or Lowe's or wherever you want, that roll of gray stuff. And he hits it with the 3M adhesive glue and glues it to the 1x4 and then puts tape on it, in 3 spots so it doesn't come off. And then when you put it underneath the step, when you pull everything the next day, it doesn't compress that all the way flush where it's wedged in there. Before we were ripping a piece, putting it in there, I was the one stripping it the next day, and it was crazy to get it out. But this system he's got here just, boom, comes right out with the foam underneath it. It works beautiful. So if you're attempting a set of these, and you got the one for the height of the step, it's 1.25 inches with a 1x4, and the foam, it's 1.5 inch gap and a 3.5 inch hangover. But ripping that piece and putting it in there for the inch, we were doing 1.5 inches before, and it was so hard to get it out. I mean, look at that work. Look at that. This comes out really sweet. This is a really cool project and comes out really nice. I'll get a lot of work from it when people see the detail to this. And just, I mean, you're not going to see anything like this. There's no hacks in my crew. I don't have people out there for nostalgia or to talk about on my videos. It's straight showing my work, And my videos do really good, and I get a lot of calls, and that's the main objective of it. The people will call you, and if you're getting work from it, your work's good. You don't really need to question it or wonder. But I get all my work from social media. There's a master himself brooming it. He came in, stayed out in a hotel. I got a room for him, and I had a room, so we had one side by side. The next job I do is a big demo. I love doing service for other people. And I'll show it'll be a really cool video. Should have it up in a few days. There's the look of it right there, the layout. And these steps, you can only pour every other. If you haven't seen my videos before or seen a set of floating I've done, you set it up every other. You pour them, and then you set it up the next day, the other 2. If you have 5, you can do 3 in one day, counting the top one, because it's floating. So that would be 1, 2, 3. And then we got to set up the other 2 and then pour them and strip them, and you're done. But everything will be stripped today. See, Milton's stripping it all today. And you don't have to face under there because that's where the next step's going. This is a really unique, really trick setup to do these. But once you get it and you brought it to another state, you would just explode. There's our 2 boys put their handprints. I love when they do that. There's the first day. That's what we poured. We poured the driveway. 1, 2, 3. We'll count the third one as a step and the walkway. So we're going to come back the next day. We're going to set up the final 2 steps right here. That's Kevin, my buddy. That's Javier's son-in-law. He's married to Javier's daughter. Super cool guy. And this is how you set it up. You got to overlap it, and then you put that 1x4 I was talking about earlier with the foam on it. See it underneath? You can see the foam taped to it, so you get a good look at it. And the 4x4s go on the inside. It seems to be very complicated for people. A lot of people say they can do it, and they actually can't because I've tore it out and I get calls all the time. I haven't seen a set that's any good other than West Coast's sets. But if you could do this and take it to another state, I mean, because as many calls as I get in other states, you would not believe how many people want these. And if you could do them, it'd probably be a good idea at your own house or somewhere, like a practice set or 2. See the foam underneath, under the 1x4? Bang, that's the fall we got on it. I mean, this dude's a master. Anything you want to do, he knows how to do it. And you got to overhang it onto the other steps, and that's the distance of the step is the 1x4 onto the previous one that you poured, and then the 4x4 hangover. So 4x4 is 3.5 inches. So you're going to get a 3.5 inch hangover, which is nice with 1.25 inch gap. So it's really hard to see underneath unless you kind of bend down. With that far a hangover, it's a full illusion that each one's independent. You can't tell that it's all one step, I mean, one staircase. Yeah. See how far you got to hang it over? And that's a key point to do this. And that's another thing on here. I give more information than anyone who posts on here. I show stuff that's viable that actually you don't know how to do, or you can augment your pay by quadrupling if you do stuff like this. I mean, these steps run about $25,000 to do a set of steps like that. With the walkway, probably, not the driveway, just the steps in the walkway. I probably do for 25, maybe 28, depends where I'm at. And maybe 23, depends how slow I am. That would be the range I was at. So, no Georgia buggy here, no wheelbarrow. Oh, wheelbarrow, we're just going to wheel it. It's about 1.5 yards. I ordered 2.5 because you can't play around with these steps and come up short. You got to go 1 yard over. It's just collateral. No big deal. You know, it was 1.5 yards. I probably would have made it, but I just ordered 2.5. And which was really weird. I've heard people ask me questions on here that if you have extra concrete, do they charge you to take it back? And for 25 years, I said no. But this guy in LA said that if you have extra, they're charging you a fee to take it back. I go, bro, I ain't paying that. And he goes, oh, I know you're not, but they charge it now. So it is a thing in California now also, where if you order 8 yards and you use, say, 5, they're going to charge you a fee. So you screwed yourself out of 3 yards, which is probably $600 out here, give or take. And now they're going to charge you a fee on top of it for dumping it in a pit that they dump in anyway and take it to the crushing plant and crush it and make base out of it. So now it's, instead of 3 times getting paid, they're getting paid like 4 times off of it to deliver it and batch it, to crush it and sell the base, and now extra if you have extra. It's insane. But every way you turn now, it's hard to make a living. I really like my service. And with the slowdown and recession, I could do more of that. For some reason, I like that better. I like to just show up with my Bobcat and breaker and dump, or go pump for another contractor. That's what I always wanted to do, and I had done. I never ever wanted to be a contractor. I just fell into this somehow. I don't know how. I guess I knew what I was doing, and it came easy to me. And with a service, I have to. I work 6 days a week. You got to service your customers, and I couldn't go to the beach every day. So that's basically, to be honest, why I started doing contracting, because I could hit 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 80,000 and then go, up and down the coast to the beaches and stuff. And I have the state pass where I can roll into any state beach and just park it and hang out in there or whatever, So it makes things fun, and you get to travel around, and I could easily support my family and myself doing it this way. It keeps you sharper working every day. You don't get older or stiff when I was, pumping and demoing every day. So I'm probably going to have to go back to it. Because lately I've been feeling like I'm 90 years old sitting around. I mean, it's crazy. I've been riding my bike every day, but I got to keep moving. I just did this demo and I felt just incredible. But I broke my thumb and I broke my tractor. So you'll see that video. I still pulled it off. It was a big demo for a residential, and I did it Monday, Tuesday, and I broke down Monday, and the rain was coming Wednesday, so I had to get this thing done, and they didn't have the part. And I'll go over it all and how I got out of it, but I got lucky. By the grace of God, I pulled that thing off. So I'm chilling now, just going to the mall. I went to the mall all day today, hung out, went shopping, because it's raining. Today's Wednesday, I believe. It's supposed to rain Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and I love Thanksgiving, Christmas time, so I'm probably not going to work. I might do a couple jobs. But it's better to keep moving for me. Here's all the tools they use here. You can get all these. You can go on Roseboro Tools, and they moved. I think they're in Santa Ana now. They used to be in Orange. Or Fantastic Tools in La Habra, California. And there's a guy I saw on here that had a really nice stuff. It was called Superior Tools, I think. He had some nice stuff. I saw a video of him, and I guess he runs a nice service, and you can actually deal with him direct. Because I guess people are having a problem with us, with Roseboro and Fantastic Tools getting a hold of them, or them returning their email. So maybe check that guy out at Superior if you guys need these upper step tools and all this stuff to do this. I'm not sure where he's out of. It just popped up on my thing, and I happened to watch it. Pretty sure he was a finisher or something at some point. See that tool right there to really crispy that edge and make it look just, I mean, you see these YouTubers on here pulling them and pulling the forms the next day, and it's all wavy gravy from the wood and stuff, or they're putting those stupid liners on it because they don't know how to face it. You can keep getting better and better and better at this. Don't feel like you're behind us or you can't come to this level, because you can. You got to believe in yourself. You know, go on your own, start your own business. There's no risk except risking for yourself. If you fail, you failed. You didn't fail. You just gave yourself a chance to try and do something for yourself, independent, instead of having a soul-crushing job that gets you nowhere in 70% of your life. If you work 40 hours a week, do the math on it. That's just a death sentence. That's 70% of your life. And even if you work independent on your own jobs, if you're working 12, 14 hours a day, something's wrong, man. You got the wrong crew out there. 1 o'clock is like a late day for me. I'm shutting it down. And before I started filming, I would go out there from 8 to 9, and I was gone at 9, 10 o'clock latest. You know, I make sure everything's going good. That's what a businessman is. I don't have to sit there. I hire people that know what they're doing. And when you pay them that good, they're going to get down for you. Just like for Javier, if he does his own job and needs me to demo or pump, no problem. And he says, hey, Anthony, how much I owe you? See, you don't owe me anything, bro. It's easy for me. Guys like him, all day long, I would help him out. Believe in yourself. Right now is a good time to go on your own, believe it or not. It's slow. And one day you guys can come to this level. I mean, look at this stuff. How nice is that? You can see how this whole job tied in with the driveway, the steps, and the walkway. I hope everyone enjoyed it. And check out Sydney Ray 05 on Instagram. Have a beautiful rest of your week, and God bless everyone out there. Thank you.